Okay, so you think you know yakisoba, right? Stir-fried noodles, maybe some pork, cabbage, that sauce. Well, prepare to have that idea kind of blown up. Because across Japan, this dish that seems so simple, it actually has over 50, yeah, get this, over 50 distinct regional versions.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? It just shows how, local traditions and ingredients can create this incredible variety from, well, basically the same starting point.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today on the deep dive. The surprisingly complex world of local Japanese yakisoba. We're going way beyond the standard stuff here.
Yeah, and our guide for this is a really interesting article from Japanese OISHII Foods. It gets right into the history, the appeal, and gives some really great examples of these local yakisoba styles.
Right. So for you, the learner, think of this as your crash course. You'll get a solid understanding of this hugely popular Japanese food. We're going to uncover some, well, surprising facts, dig into some cool regional stories, and even give you some tips on how you could actually try these yourself, whether you're, in Japan or just curious at home.
Yeah, our mission today really is to unpack what makes this local yakisoba culture tick. We want to show you the diversity, its unexpected role in boosting local regions, and why it's just such a great way into Japanese food overall.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Yakisoba, at its core,
Hmm.
it's basically Chinese noodles stir-fried with meat and veggies. Is that the baseline?
That's pretty much it, yeah. And what really made it, huge in Japan was yakisoba with sauce. And usually that means that Worcestershire style sauce, the kind of tangy one.
Right, which makes you think, okay, maybe post-World War II. Fairly recent. But, and this is where it gets interesting, the article says, apparently you could find it way earlier, like food stalls in Asakusa, Tokyo around 1935.
That's right. And even before that, back in the Meiji and Taisho periods, Chinese restaurants in Japan already had similar stir-fried noodle dishes. Though back then, the seasoning was often more like soy sauce or salt, not the sort of sweeter, richer sauces we think of now.
Huh. So how do we get from that to, this explosion of regional types? What drove that evolution?
Well, a big part of it was convenience. Yakisoba became like perfect food stall fare. It's quick, easy to make. Vendors didn't need tons of boiling water or complicated soup setups. That simplicity, plus using whatever local ingredients were around, just sort of opened the door for all these regional tweaks.
The article mentions differences between East and West Japan, too, like sour sauce in the East, sweet sauce in the West. Is that a bigger thing in Japanese food?
Oh, yeah, that's a fascinating point. Those kinds of regional flavor preferences, they definitely go way beyond yakisoba. It's tied to, history, what crops grew where, trade routes, even the local water, different ways of getting umami, preserving food. It all shapes taste over time.
Makes sense. And then after World War II, things changed again. More cabbage to save on flour.
Exactly. They had to adapt. More cabbage meant they needed thicker, stronger sauces to make sure it still tasted good.
So resourcefulness kind of reshaped the dish.
Pretty much. And that leads us to today with, like you said, over 50 recognized gotochi yakisoba, local yakisoba, each one telling its own little story.
It's really something.
And what's really cool is how this everyday food became such a big deal for local identity. A huge part of that story is the B1 Grand Prix.
Ah, the B1 Grand Prix. Right, I've heard of that. That sounds like it was a game changer. Started in 2006.
Yep, in Hachinohe City. And at first, the B was for B-class local gourmet, kind of suggesting cheap, simple local eats. But then in 2013, they did something small. They changed B to mean brand.
Ooh, clever. So it wasn't just about selling noodles anymore. It was about building up the town's image,
Yeah,
promoting the region through its food.
precisely. The organizers, the AIB League, saw that food could be this powerful tool to make towns more attractive, draw in tourists. It's about the whole package, not just the dish itself.
And Fujinomiya Yakisoba is the poster child for this, right?
Yeah.
The article mentions it won gold twice and generated, what, almost 44 billion yen in economic benefits over 9 years. That's staggering for yakisoba.
It really is. It just shows you the power of local food when it captures people's imagination. It boosts the local economy, builds pride. The B1 Grand Prix definitely helped put a lot of these regional yakisoba on the national map.
Okay, so let's break down why they're so appealing. The article lists 3 main attractions. First one, the sheer variety.
And this is really where it gets fun. I mean, over 50 types. The noodles themselves can be different, the seasonings, the ingredients they throw in, the toppings. It's just endless variation.
You can almost taste the geography, right? Like coastal towns using seafood, mountain areas using local veggies or meats.
Yeah,
and everyone's got their own secret sauce or way of cooking it.
exactly. It's like a delicious tour of Japan just through one dish. You get a real taste of local identity with every different plate.
Okay, second big appeal. This whole regional promotion and storytelling angle. We touched on the B1 Grand Prix, but these dishes are really playing a part in the, revitalizing towns.
Absolutely. When a local dish gets famous, especially through something like the Grand Prix, it creates this buzz. People feel proud, tourists get curious. Look at Fujinomiya again. That's real economic impact from a beloved local food hitting the big time.
And that taps right into what visitors, especially international ones, often want, doesn't it? That authentic connection. Knowing the story behind the food makes it taste, well, better somehow.
Totally. It turns lunch into like a little cultural lesson.
Right. And the third point is this mix of being familiar but also deep. Yakisoba feels approachable, right?
Yeah.
Affordable, recognizable, a good starting point for Japanese food.
Exactly. And it's starting to get more known overseas alongside the big hitters like sushi and ramen. Plus, with Japanese food overall getting that UNESCO intangible cultural heritage status, people are just more curious about all of it.
So this simple everyday dish actually becomes this great way to learn about Japan's food diversity. What seems like a normal meal at home can be a totally fresh cultural thing for a visitor.
And it works both ways. Helps local places, gives visitors something genuinely tasty and local. It's a win-win.
Okay, let's get specific then. To really show this diversity, the article zooms in on three distinct types. First up, Fujinomiya Yakisoba from Shizuoka,
Yeah.
the two-time champ. What's its secret?
Well, a big part is the noodles. They do this steaming then cooling thing instead of steaming then boiling it. Makes the noodles firmer, less watery, gives them this really unique chewy texture.
Steaming, then cooling. Interesting. And it mentions meat dregs. What on earth are meat dregs?
Mmm. Yeah, it sounds a bit weird, but it's basically the little crispy bits left over after they render pork fat. They add this incredible savory crunch and richness, and then the final touch, they sprinkle sardine shavings on top. Apparently the aroma hits you as you lift it up.
Sardine shavings? Okay, that's definitely different. Adds a kind of seafood umami, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. And there are like 150 places serving it just in Fujinomiya City. It's clearly a big deal there.
Oh, huge. The article even shouts out one place, Sano Shukudo, been around over 60 years. Their yakisoba mix uses these slightly sticky noodles from Marumo Foods, and it's loaded with squid, pork, egg, meat cake, and their own spicy sauce. Sounds amazing.
Okay, my mouth is watering already. Next, Yokote Yakisoba from Akita, another B1 winner, top 3 in Japan now. What makes Yokote Yokote?
The noodles, again, are key here. They use thick, straight boiled noodles, so a different texture entirely. Ingredients are simpler, usually just cabbage and ground pork. The sauce starts with sweetened Worcestershire, but like Fujinomiya, each place has its own secret recipe tweaks.
Simple, but sounds effective. But the toppings are really specific, right? A fried egg, half-boiled, and fukudzushi pickles. That's not typical.
Not at all. And the way you're supposed to eat it is to break that runny yolk and mix it all through the noodles. The idea is the richness of the egg mellows out the sweet sauce, makes it more balanced. And they even have a local competition, the Yokote Yakisoba Shitno Kessen, the battle of the 4 heavenly kings of yakisoba. They're serious about it.
Uh-huh. 4 heavenly kings. Love it. The recommended spot is Fujiharu Shokudo, a multiple winner, focuses only on yakisoba.
That's the one. They serve it classic style. Thick noodles, sweet sauce, that half-boiled egg, and the fukujinzike pickles on the side. It really shows how just a few core elements, done just right, can create something totally unique and loved.
Definitely. All right, number 3. Hida Yakisoba from Oida. This sounds like another sharp-turn crispy noodles. How does that work?
Yeah, this is cool. They don't just stir fry. They actually grill the noodles on a hot griddle using more oil than usual. So parts of the noodles get really crispy and browned while others stay softer.
Crispy yakisoba. Now that's a texture I need to try. And the ingredients are kept simple too. Pork, bean sprouts, green onions, deliberately avoiding watery stuff.
Exactly. They want to maintain that crispiness. Even the bean sprouts are cooked super fast so they stay crunchy. And again, a secret sweet and spicy sauce that varies by restaurant. It started in Hida City, but it's getting popular nationwide.
And the place to go is Sofuren Main Branch, the original from 1957.
Yep, that's the birthplace. Their signature, sofu koyaki, uses fresh noodles, boiled right before cooking, then grilled slowly with this special spatula. You get the crispy bits, tender pork they use, Japanese pork, mochi buddha, crunchy sprouts, all coated in that sauce. The article says even the crispy parts still taste kind of juicy. It sounds incredible.
Wow, just those 3 examples. Fujinomiya's chewiness and sardine shavings.
Hmm.
Yukoki's thick noodles and egg. Hita's crispiness.
Yeah,
It really drives home the diversity, doesn't it?
absolutely. It's so much more than people think.
And speaking of things you always see with yakisoba,
Right.
what about that bright pink pickled ginger, the beni shoga? Why is that always there?
Ah, yeah, the red ginger. Good question. Well, according to the folks at the Fujinomiya Yakisoba Society, it probably just started organically as a palate cleanser,
Oh.
to cut through the richness or greasiness of the noodles and sauce. And since yakisoba often came from those little dagashiya shops that also sold okonomiyaki, which also often had red ginger, it just became a standard pairing.
Ah, that makes total sense. Plus, it looks good, right? That bright red against the brown noodles.
Definitely adds visual pop. But there are practical reasons too. Ginger itself aids digestion, and the vinegar it's pickled in is also good for digestion and apparently helps eliminate odors. It can even double as a little chopstick rest if you need one.
Huh. Multi-purpose ginger.
Hmm.
Okay, so for listeners who are now desperate to try some of these, what tips does the article have, especially for foreign visitors heading to Japan?
Okay, first big tip. Focus on the textures. Really notice the difference. That firm chew of Fujinomiya, the thick sort of elastic feel of Yokode, that Hita crispiness.
Hmm.
They're totally different experiences in your mouth. Comparing those textures really adds another layer to understanding Japanese food. It's not just about flavor.
Good point. Texture is huge, but often overlooked.
Right.
What's tip number 2?
Number 2 is taste with local stories. Basically, remember, you're not just eating noodles, you're tasting local history and culture, learning a bit about, the town's efforts to promote it or how it started after the war or the unique cooking ideas. It genuinely makes it taste better, deepens the appreciation. And practically speaking, the article notes lots of places have English menus or picture menus now, and translation apps are super helpful.
Yeah, connecting with the story definitely enhances things. And the third tip sounds like it's about doing as the locals do.
Pretty much. Embrace the local way of eating it, like mixing the egg and pickles and yokote, or really breathing in that sardine aroma with Fujinomiya first, or getting that mix of crispy noodle and crunchy sprout and hita. Those little rituals are part of the fun. And maybe try it with a local. Drink a craft beer, some local sake or cider. It's all about diving in.
Absolutely, immerse yourself. Okay, but what if a trip isn't on the cards right now? Can people try these at home?
Good news on that front, too. The article actually mentions you can buy authentic local yakisoba kits online. Specifically calls out Fujinomiya and Yokote kits. The Yokote ones sometimes let you add your own fresh stuff and even freeze and hita yakisoba sets. So yeah, check places like Amazon. A taste of regional Japan might be closer than you think.
That's fantastic news. All right, so wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
we've really journeyed through the world of local Japanese yakisoba. We've seen the incredible variety, how it helps build communities and economies, and the rich stories hiding in what seems like a simple dish. You definitely now know that a plate of stir-fried noodles can be, well, a whole lot more. It's a real window into Japan's amazing food culture.
It really is. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Seeing how much diversity and local pride is packed into yakisoba, it makes you wonder what other everyday dishes around the world have these hidden regional depths. Maybe your next food adventure could be exploring all the different takes on, I don't know, another globally popular noodle dish somewhere else entirely.